Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. I'm Colleen Sanderson, Director of Targeted Marketing at United Airlines. I've been there about 27 years. About 14 of those have been on the marketing team.
And I'm Kelly Hickey, not to be confused with Kevin Hickey from Delta. Two Hickeys, who would have thought in the same day? But I joined the team in April and bring about a decade of experience in CRM at various companies, including Instacart, Coco Kind, and Ray's Marketplace.
So Kelly and I are here today to talk to you a little bit about the newest addition to our channel family at United, and that's SMS marketing. We just launched Push a few weeks ago, so I'm not quite ready to bring that into the conversation, but we'll get there. One of the best things I learned while I was navigating this launch was how important it was to lean into and look to other companies and other marketing teams who have done things like this, who run good SMS programs, for guidance and inspiration. And I'm hoping that the two of us can give you guys a little bit of guidance and inspiration to take back to your teams. So for me, this adventure started back in June of 2023. We had just switched over to the Salesforce Marketing Cloud platform. The package that we had included SMS. We had a strong email channel, but we've always known that it was really important for us to branch beyond email and start to get into SMS and Push so we can reach those people that we're not reaching via email. Now, usually when, I'm sure you all can identify with this, usually when a marketing team wants to adopt a new bit of functionality, the challenge, the hurdle, is actually getting the technology itself, right? It's funding or it's leadership buy-in or priorities. Well, we already had the technology. My hurdle was the fact that I was not staffed appropriately to do this. I had a team of 13 people, and not a single one of us had ever worked in the SMS space before. And I did not have the luxury of just saying, well, I'm gonna hire someone first, and then we'll get around to launching it. So I immediately went into this research and education mode. I was combing the internet. I was talking to our existing MarTech partners for any advice and suggestion and information. I was just assimilating, gathering as much information as I possibly could. So I'm here to tell you that if any of you are in the same space, meaning you need to launch SMS or Push and you don't really have a background in it, I promise you can do it. I'm proof that you can do it. And then as fast forward to the past few weeks, as Kelly and I started prepping for this session, I started going back through all of my notes and emails and documents from that launch, that pre-launch time. And I noticed that a sort of checklist started to form in my head. And that's when it occurred to me that these might be some really interesting little nuggets of information that any of you out there might benefit from if you're looking to launch something like this in the future. There it is. Okay. So first, and probably the most valuable thing that I did, was you have to subscribe to as much SMS as you can mentally handle. My phone has been blowing up since June. Like, I can't keep track of my own personal SMS at this point. But as you do this, as you start to sign up for everything, you really have to look at what you're getting. How does their welcome flow work? Are they also getting you to subscribe to email? How does their SMS and email work together? How often are they texting you? What are they texting you about? Do they start to drive you nuts at some point? And if so, why? And for me, that was one of the most interesting things, was really what started to drive me insane. And as you start to wade through all of this, it's gonna help you start to define who you want to be in this channel. Now, of course, your brand, tone and voice and all of that is gonna influence here, of course, but SMS marketing is different than email marketing or any of the other channels that you have. And it should sound different. And you really have to think through who you want to be. We looked at this through the lens of being a friend. So if United Airlines was a friend that I wanted to start texting with, what would I want that friend to sound like and look like when they show up in my email box? Do you want that friend to be quiet and thoughtful and reserved? They don't say very much, but when they do, you listen because you know it's going to be something good. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got your chatty friend, right? They know something about everything. They can talk to anyone about anything. Pros and cons on both sides, two ends of the spectrum. We decided to lean more toward the quieter and reserved side, and our friend became what we call a travel whisperer. So this is the friend who takes great vacations, can recommend a cheap but fabulous hotel, knows where the secret ramen shop is, will tell you how they avoid jet lag, etc. So as you start to narrow in on your voice then, you are going to be able to start thinking about your high-level idea of a channel strategy. The business units that you support right now with your current marketing, if you're thinking about launching SMS, I guarantee you, if they hear about it, they're going to be really excited about it. They're already going to start thinking about how they want to use the channel. So it's going to be really important to set early on a very clear and defined point of view about how the channel will and will not be used. We've thought through a lot of the types of campaigns that we currently support, and then we started thinking about which of those campaigns would benefit from having SMS support, which ones would not, which ones could we divert completely over to SMS. Just as an example, our corporate communications team loves to have our marketing team send emails from our leadership, our CEO, Chief Customer Officer. So as we started thinking through SMS, our first thought was, well, we are not going to send an SMS telling our customers to go read a letter from our leaders. That's not a good use of that channel. It's not really what SMS was built for. But we also send campaigns for fare sales. Now that's a prime use case for SMS, and we would even argue, like, if it's a 24-hour fare sale, short, urgent, divert it completely to SMS. We don't even send an email about it. As you develop your channel strategy, then, you can start to develop an intake process. Some of the things that we had to think through was who owns the calendar? How are business teams going to request an SMS message? Who's going to be the decider as to whether it belongs in the SMS channel? What's our lead time? What other teams need to be involved? We thought through all of the current teams that we rely on to get just an email campaign out the door. We had to figure out how those teams were going to fit into an SMS process. Depending on how big or small the company is, you might have a planning team, a separate analytics team, an editorial team. We had to think through all of that. And you also have to, under an additional aspect of this is going to be your cadence. So United doesn't have the promotional and sales opportunities that retailers do. So our desired cadence is about every other week, which means we have a lot of time in between our SMS messages. But if you're out there thinking, well, I have sales and promotional opportunities multiple times a week, that's going to mean you're going to need a process that is much more nimble in order to accommodate all of that. Underneath all of this, I highly, highly recommend that you get familiar with the technical side of the platform. I'm not saying you have to learn how to code, but it's really important that the technical teams who are going to be setting up your SMS or push channel know what you guys need from a marketing side. They're not thinking that way, I guarantee it. Our marketing operations team, for example, told us early on that emojis were not going to be possible when we send an SMS. They tried it, it didn't work, case closed. Well, Kelly and I were like, no. It's really important for us as a brand that we look and feel like other retailers out there who are sending SMS. So we inserted ourselves into these technical conversations. We forced these additional meetings with our tech teams and the platform provider. Lo and behold, emojis are possible. So it's no fault of our marketing operations team or any of the tech teams involved. They just didn't know that from a marketing strategy perspective, it was really important to us. So they didn't know that they needed to put time and effort to prioritizing a fix for it. Lastly, I would say that another really important thing is to think beyond your immediate marketing teams. It's important to think about what other teams in your company would want to know that this channel is going to launch. We did a lot of socialization and education with teams like advertising, corporate security, fraud, our contact centers. They all had questions coming from different angles as far as how they would interact or hear about this channel. And it was additional opportunities for us to socialize the reason for this channel's existence, how we're going to respect it, how we're going to use it. So that's another really, really important thing to do that we didn't think about until a little bit later in the game, but all good. So you've made all the decisions. You've planned out your first few messages. You've tested the heck out of them, I hope. And maybe you've even sent a couple. And now you're rolling. Now you're in the thick of it. You're rolling, you're rolling. Now what? Kelly here is going to talk a little bit about some of the nuances of what her team faces every day in growing and maturing the channel.
So one of the most important things you can do when you're testing into a new channel is to test. As marketers, we often have this assumption that we know exactly what our customers want and when they want it. We are so often humbled to find out that those assumptions are completely false. And so with that in mind, we really put testing at the center of our SMS growth strategy. We began by testing the where. Where should we acquire our customers? Now, starting from an audience of 0, we wanted to at first be very careful and only target those who were truly incremental, who weren't already opted into email. And by starting with a smaller testing pool, we were able to create a lower risk environment where we could see what types of content was working with these folks and what wasn't. And then with those learnings, we then expanded our acquisition targeting as well as channels. I'm sure many of you have, a lot of technical restraints in terms of what you can get up quickly, and so we really focused on our owned and operated channels. So in addition to our website and mobile app, hopefully the majority of you who flew United here recognize our seatback entertainment placement, but we also have placements in paid social, organic social, and of course within email. And each of these channels has really given us key insights into where we can sustainably grow our subscriber base. And so once we started understanding the where, we got into the what we needed to say in order to acquire our customers and convey the value prop of the SMS channel. Now, from an e-commerce background, I'm very wary of the double-edged sword of offering an incentive for folks to sign up for SMS. While you can often see a huge increase in your audience very quickly with an incentive, you often tend to see a lot of folks come in, use the promotion code, and leave immediately. And so we wanted to be very wary of that and really grow a base of people who were really excited about the channel and wanted to be there. And so we started with a value prop of being among the first to know about United news and deals. Quickly learned that wasn't quite enough to get people in. And so we started testing into the how to incentivize customers to join. And we saw our first big success when we did our July week of deals and started testing into our exclusivity value prop. For the sale, we offered our customers a sneak peek into the destinations on sale if they subscribed to SMS. And so our subscribers, whether they came in through these placements or otherwise, would get this text with the sale destination the day before anyone else, really proving out that the value of subscribing to the channel. And we were able not only to see tens of thousands of new subscribers come in through this, but those subscribers were highly engaged. We had the highest engagement rate of any owned and operated channel for this deployment. We also accounted for 23% of the overall bookings. And so with these learnings about the exclusivity value prop, we've really tested into things like sneak peeks, early access, exclusive deals and updates, and when it makes sense, outright incentives. And so by implementing this new language into our acquisition channels, we were soon able to grow an audience large enough to test in the campaigns themselves. And like I said before, we often have these assumptions that we know what the customer is going to want or how they're going to react, and we are absolutely guilty of that. And so our assumption for our welcome day, send day test was that's giving our customers a day in between the welcome message or when they first joined, and the welcome message would help them acclimate to the channel better. We were wrong. The one-day trigger after welcome or after sign up actually won out. For our route support for Marrakesh this fall, we thought adding a beautiful imagery, that kind of spoke to this more niche destination would help convey the value of clicking through the message. We were wrong. The non-image version won out. And so these examples really speak to the importance of testing continuously and often, and helping to learn what is working with your audience and creating a better experience for them. And we're taking that same approach as we get into push marketing. As Colleen said, it's brand new, but we're really going to take that as a very similar approach to what we've done for SMS. And then the overall goal of this next year is to create that truly omni-channel approach. And so we'll audit our most successful email flows, see where both push and SMS make sense, where they might not, and then look at our emails where they've maybe not performed in the past, like creating this more mobile-first experience for a customer that revolves around our award-winning app. And through complex journeys like these, we'll be able to create experience that puts the customer's preferences first, and we'll be able to send messages to them where they most want to receive them.
Which means we'll have lots more to talk about next year.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kelly, Colleen, thank you so much. We have time for a couple of questions.
Great presentation. Colleen, just an idea. This is Dan Nashar with Zeta. For your text messages, what I've done is I've actually got a free Google number and use my free Google number to sign up for text. So it kind of keeps your personal one separate from the free Google.
I like that idea. Thank you. I wish I'd known that a year ago.
Oh, that wasn't even a question. That was that was great. Any questions? Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Hoda with Albertson. My question is for Kelly. So as you were talking through the test results where a regular SMS without an image is actually working best for you, I'm just wondering, did you guys also test out RCS in the process or not yet?
We're getting there. Yeah,
Okay.
that's another thing on the roadmap for sure. But yeah, for now we're just doing images, GIFs, things like that, emojis to Colleen's point, and really testing and seeing, for that particular route support message, maybe the image didn't work, but for a fare sale it might, and so, you also have to continuously test those types of things and prove it out.
Yeah, because we're also trying to get into it, and we have the same data basically that direct, no fuss, no image SMS actually works, especially if it's time sensitive. The rich ones with an image or emojis or whatnot are considered a little bit salesy and markety to the customer, so they think, I'll get back to it. I don't need to necessarily take a look at it, but then we're hypothesizing that if we go down the RCS route and then we add action items that are strong enough at the bottom of that rich communication, then we might flip the results.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for too.
Yeah, exactly. And testing into things like surveys where it's a little bit more interactive with the customers and we can get, that first party data directly from them and send kind of bespoke responses based on what they tell us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One more question.
Hi, Chris Marriott at Email Connect. When you did, whether it was an RFP or just a vendor selection process, because you said you switched in the middle of 2023. Correct. During that process, how much importance did the team place on, since you knew you had these mobile SMS and mobile things down the road coming up, how much were native mobile capabilities considered when you selected the platform?
That's a really good question that I don't know if I can answer. I was on the periphery of the RFP process. I think I attended maybe 2 or 3 meetings. I was not part of the decision-making process. And I don't recall any of the conversations really getting to that level. I'm sorry.
Colleen and Kelly, thank you guys so much.